The stars looked different from the observation deck of the Galactic Council's main station. Linda Hayes stood with her hands clasped behind her back, watching the unfamiliar constellations. After 3 years of serving as Earth's ambassador to the Council, she still found the view breathtaking. "Ambassador Hayes, the Council session begins in 10 minutes, said Frank Miller, her assistant. Frank was a tall man with kind eyes that contrasted with his military posture, a leftover from his years in the Earth Navy. Linda nodded and straightened her formal blue uniform. "Thank you, Frank. Are the reports ready?" "Yes, ma'am." "All prepared and uploaded to your tablet." Linda took a deep breath. Another day of sitting quietly, speaking when spoken to, and carefully measuring every word. Another day of being Earth's polite representative to a group of species that had been traveling between stars. When humans were still figuring out how to build steam engines, the first contact had happened suddenly. A massive ship appeared in Earth orbit one morning in 2147, broadcasting a message in perfect English. They were representatives of the Galactic Council, they explained, a federation of 17 advanced species that had been observing Earth for decades. They felt humans had finally reached a level of technological and social development where formal contact was appropriate. The world's governments, after the initial panic, formed the United Earth Diplomatic Corps to handle the new reality. Linda, with her background in international law and conflict resolution, was chosen to lead the first permanent delegation to the Council. "You know, I saw Diplomatic Overseer Zrilka in the dining area earlier," Frank said as they walked toward the Council chambers. All 4 of his eyes were focused on the human section. "I don't trust him." Linda kept her face neutral. "The Mercari have always been interested in our system. Jupiter's resources are valuable to them." "They look at us like we're children," Frank muttered. "Let them," Linda replied quietly. "Better to be underestimated than feared." The Council chamber was a vast room with a circular platform in the center. 17 sections fanned out from this platform, each designed to accommodate the specific needs of a Council race. The human section, the newest addition, was simple compared to the others. While the Valdurians required special atmospheric controls and the aquatic Mercari needed moisture pools, humans just needed standard gravity and breathable air. As Linda and Frank took their seats, several Council members nodded politely. The Valdurian High Speaker, a 12-foot-tall being with a mantis-like appearance and gleaming compound eyes, clicked its mandibles in what Linda had learned was a greeting. "The Earth representatives honor us with their presence," the High Speaker said, its translator converting the clicks and whistles into smooth English. "The honor is ours, High Speaker." Linda replied with a small bow. The Mercari representative, Diplomatic Overseer Zrilka, was less welcoming. His bluish skin glistened with moisture and his 4 eyes blinked independently as he watched the humans take their seats. The Mercari were an aquatic species, with webbed hands and feet and gills visible on their necks. They were known throughout the galaxy as shrewd negotiators and ambitious expansionists. "Let us begin the 347th session of the Galactic Council," the High Speaker announced. "Today we will discuss trade routes through the Cygnus Arm, resource allocation for new colony worlds, and the petition from the humans regarding educational exchange programs." Linda listened carefully as the Council moved through its agenda. As an observational member, Earth had no voting power yet. They could speak when invited and submit petitions, but the real decisions were made by the full members. It was frustrating, but Linda understood the politics at play. Earth was the newcomer, the unknown variable. Trust had to be earned. 3 hours into the session, Linda noticed Catherine Alvarez, one of Earth's technical advisors, slip into the chamber and take a seat at the back. Catherine had been working on installing communication upgrades throughout the station, a gesture of goodwill from Earth. Her presence during a Council session was unusual. When there was a brief recess, Catherine approached Linda with a careful expression. "Ambassador, I need to speak with you privately," she whispered. They moved to a quiet corner of the chamber. Catherine's dark eyes were serious as she leaned close to Linda's ear. "I was installing the new relays in the Mercari private chamber when their delegation came in." They didn't know I was there, hidden behind the equipment panel, she explained quickly. They were talking about their real plans for Jupiter's moons? Linda kept her face calm despite her racing heart. Tell me. They're planning to propose a mining operation next week, but it's just a cover. They want to establish military outposts throughout our solar system. I heard Zrilka say that humans are too primitive to properly use Jupiter's resources, and that the Mercari could guide our development once they have a foothold? Linda's expression didn't change, but her eyes hardened slightly. Did you record this? Catherine nodded. Everything. It's encrypted on my personal device. Good, say nothing to anyone else for now. Linda glanced across the chamber where the Mercari delegates were speaking with the representatives from another aquatic species. We've been playing the polite newcomers for 3 years, learning their ways, following their rules. Perhaps it's time to show them another side of humanity. When the council reconvened, Linda participated as usual, polite, deferential, and careful with her words. No one watching would have guessed that anything had changed. But under the table, her fingers typed a rapid message to Earth Command. On her secure tablet, Protocol Janus now active. Send General Winters and Admiral Blackwell for next session. Bring the evidence package. It's time to drop the mask. As the session ended, the Valdorian High Speaker approached Linda. Its massive form towered over her, but she had long since stopped being intimidated by the alien's size. Ambassador Hayes, you seem troubled today. Is Earth's delegation displeased with the proceedings? Linda smiled warmly. Not at all, High Speaker. In fact, I'm looking forward to next week's session very much. I believe it will be quite educational for everyone involved. The High Speaker's mandibles clicked in what Linda had learned was amusement. You humans are always so polite, so eager to learn our ways. It is a refreshing change from the usual politics of the galaxy. We believe in putting our best foot forward, Linda replied. But you know, High Speaker, on Earth we have a saying, don't mistake kindness for weakness. An interesting expression, the High Speaker said. What does it mean? Linda's smile remained pleasant, but her eyes took on a steely quality that the alien didn't quite understand. You'll find out next week, she said softly. I promise you that. The week passed quickly as Linda Hayes prepared for what might be the most important council session in Earth's short history of galactic relations. She sent encrypted messages back to Earth Command every day, coordinating the arrival of General Richard Winters and Admiral Samantha Blackwell. On the night before the crucial session, Linda couldn't sleep. She stood at the window of her quarters on the council station, looking out at the stars. Earth was just a tiny blue dot from here, barely visible among countless others. Yet that small dot was home to billions of people who were counting on her to protect their interests. Trouble sleeping? Frank Miller asked as he entered with 2 cups of coffee. Linda accepted one gratefully. Just thinking about tomorrow? The Mercari won't know what hit them. Are you sure this is the right move? Frank asked. We've spent 3 years building our reputation as the polite newcomers. That was always the plan, Linda replied. Show them our best face while we prepare for the worst. Humanity learned long ago that you don't survive by being naive. A soft chime from Linda's communication device interrupted them. It was a message from the docking bay. The Earth military transport had arrived. Linda and Frank went to greet the new arrivals. General Richard Winters was a broad-shouldered man with silver hair and a face that rarely smiled. Admiral Samantha Blackwell stood beside him, her dark skin contrasting with her crisp white uniform. Behind them were 3 more officers, each carrying secure briefcases. Ambassador Hayes, General Winters said with a formal nod. Operation Mask Drop is ready to proceed. Welcome to the Council. Station, General, Linda replied. I trust the journey was uneventful? As expected. No one paid much attention to a routine personnel transport, Admiral Blackwell said. Do the Council races suspect anything? Linda shook her head. They still see us as the polite, grateful newcomers, eager to please our galactic betters. That changes tomorrow, Winters said firmly. They spent the next few hours in Linda's quarters, reviewing their strategy. Catherine Alvarez joined them, bringing the recordings she had made in the Mercari private chamber. They listened to the aliens discussing their plans for Earth's solar system. "Primitive apes," one Mercari voice said clearly on the recording. "They have no idea how to properly utilize the resources of their own system. They should be grateful for our guidance. Once we establish our bases around Jupiter, we can begin the real work," another voice, recognizable as Zrilka, added. "The Council will thank us for bringing the humans to heel before they become a problem." General Winter's face grew harder with each word. "We've heard enough," he said finally. "These recordings confirm our suspicions. The Mercari see Earth as just another world to control." "What about the other evidence?" Linda asked. Admiral Blackwell opened one of the briefcases. Inside was a data crystal and several tablets. "Everything is here. The fleet status, defense grid capabilities, and the Mars shipyard's imagery, all ready to show the Council." "Good," Linda nodded. "Remember, tomorrow is not about starting a war. It's about showing the Council that humanity isn't to be trifled with. We drop the mask, but we stay in control." The next morning, the Council chamber buzzed with quiet conversation as delegates from 17 species took their places. When the doors opened to admit the Earth delegation, a ripple of surprise went through the crowd. Instead of Ambassador Hayes in her diplomatic uniform, General Winters led the way, wearing the formal black and gold uniform of the United Earth. Defense Force, Admiral Blackwell, and the other military officers followed, their faces serious and their posture rigid. Linda and Frank entered last, staying slightly behind the military contingent, the Valdurian High Speaker's compound eyes focused on the unexpected group. "We welcome Earth's representatives," it said, mandibles clicking in what might have been confusion. "Though we note a change in your delegation's composition." General Winters stepped forward. "High Speaker, honorable council members. I am General Richard Winters, Commander of Earth's Defense Forces. I come today because a matter of grave importance to Earth's security has arisen." The council chamber grew quiet. This was not the typical deferential tone the human delegates usually took. "The floor recognizes General Winters of Earth," the High Speaker said. Winters nodded curtly. "We understand that the Mercari delegation plans to propose a mining operation in Jupiter's moons today. Before this proposal is made, Earth wishes to make its position clear." Diplomatic Overseer Zrilka shifted uneasily in his moisture pool. His four eyes blinked rapidly. "Earth categorically rejects any such proposal," Winters continued, his voice firm and unwavering. "Furthermore, we have evidence that the true purpose of this operation is to establish military outposts throughout our solar system without our consent." The chamber erupted in murmurs. The Mercari delegation began clicking and whistling among themselves in obvious agitation. "These are serious accusations," the High Speaker said. "Does Earth have evidence to support them?" "We do," Admiral Blackwell stepped forward, holding the data crystal. "With the Council's permission, we would like to play a recording made in the Mercari private chamber 5 days ago." Before the High Speaker could respond, Zrilka stood up, water dripping from his scales. "This is outrageous. Private chambers are sacred spaces. Any recording made there violates Council protocol." "The recording was made by accident," Catherine explained from her position near the back. "I was installing communication upgrades as requested by the Council itself when the Mercari delegation entered. They did not see me." The High Speaker considered this. "The circumstances are unusual, but if the recording was truly accidental, Council protocol allows its admission." "Proceed, Admiral." Admiral Blackwell inserted the crystal into the Council's central display system. The clear voices of the Mercari delegates filled the chamber, discussing their plans to bring the humans to heel and establish control over Earth's solar system. As the recording played, Zrilka's blue skin darkened with rage or embarrassment. When it finished, the chamber was completely silent. General Winters broke the silence. "For 3 years, Earth has been polite. We have followed your customs, respected your rules, and behaved as the newcomers you expected us to be. But make no mistake, this was a choice, not a necessity." He nodded to one of the officers who opened his briefcase and removed a small device. This transmitter is linked to Earth's defense grid, Winters explained. While we've been attending your meetings and learning your ways, we haven't been idle. We've built defenses. We've prepared for the possibility that not all species in this council have humanity's best interests at heart. The atmosphere in the chamber had changed completely. The council members who had seen humans as quaint, primitive newcomers now looked at the Earth delegation with new eyes. The Mercari vessels currently approaching Jupiter's moons, Admiral Blackwell added, are being tracked by our defense systems. One signal from this transmitter, and they will find themselves unable to proceed. Zrilka stood again, his voice now a harsh rasp. You dare threaten a founding member of the council? You are nothing but observers here. Linda Hayes finally stepped forward, standing beside General Winters. We dare to defend what is ours, Diplomatic Overseer Zrilka, just as any sovereign species would. The council chamber remained tense as Linda Hayes stood beside General Winters. The Mercari delegation's four-eyed stares burned with anger, but Linda met their gaze without flinching. What Ambassador Hayes and I want to make clear, General, Winters continued, is that Earth joined this council in good faith. We expected to be treated as equals, not as a resource to be exploited or a primitive species to be controlled. The Valdurian High Speaker's compound eyes shifted between the human delegation and the Mercari. This is most concerning, it said. Finally, Diplomatic Overseer Zrilka, how do you respond to these accusations and evidence? Zrilka rose from his moisture pool, water dripping from his blue scales. The humans misunderstand. Our discussions were theoretical only. We meant no harm, Admiral Blackwell stepped forward. With respect, Overseer, your own words contradict that claim. Your exact statement was, once we establish our bases around Jupiter, we can begin the real work. The Council will thank us for bringing the humans to heel before they become a problem. The other Council members shifted uncomfortably. Several species began whispering among themselves. Perhaps, the High Speaker suggested, we should adjourn to consider this matter more carefully. Before we do, Admiral Blackwell said, there is more the Council should know. She inserted another data crystal into the display system. This is why we arrived with a military delegation today rather than our usual diplomatic team. The central display lit up with images that made several council members gasp. The pictures showed massive orbital shipyards around Mars, hidden from standard detection by advanced cloaking technology. Dozens of warships were visible, some as large as the Council's own defensive vessels. For the past 3 years, Blackwell explained, while Earth has been learning your ways and participating in Council affairs, we have also been preparing. Our history taught us to hope for peace but prepare for conflict. One of the reptilian delegates leaned forward. These ships, they appear to have weapon systems similar to our own designs. We've been paying attention during our time here, Frank Miller said with a slight smile. Humans are quick learners. General Winters nodded to Captain Joseph Bennett, who activated a holographic display from his wrist device. It showed a map of Earth's solar system with red dots indicating defense platforms positioned throughout. These platforms have been tracking every Council ship that has entered our system since the day we joined, Winters explained. Not because we expected trouble, but because we've learned through our own history that trust must be earned. The Mercari delegation conferred hurriedly among themselves. Zrilka's skin had turned a paler shade of blue, a sign of distress. Linda had learned. You have violated Council protocols by concealing military assets, Zrilka accused, his voice strained. Linda stepped forward again. We violated no protocols. Earth is an observational member only. We are not yet bound by full membership requirements regarding military disclosure. We were simply exercising our right to self-defense as a sovereign species. The High Speaker's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of deep thought. Ambassador Hayes speaks truly. Observational members are not required to disclose defensive capabilities. It turned to face the entire Council. I believe we have misjudged our human colleagues. A tall, slender delegate from the Centauri Alliance rose. I wish to know why reveal these capabilities now? Why not continue your charade of politeness? General Winters looked directly at the Mercari delegation. Because some members of this council left us no choice. We preferred diplomatic relations. But we will not stand by while others plot to take control of our home system. The question, Admiral Blackwell added, is what happens next? Earth still desires peaceful relations with the Council. We have no wish for conflict. Captain Bennett held up the small transmitter again. As a show of good faith, I will not activate this device. The Mercari ships currently approaching Jupiter will be allowed to continue, but only to turn around and leave our system. The High Speaker's massive form seemed to relax slightly. This seems reasonable. Diplomatic Overseer Zrilka, do you agree to recall your vessels? All four of Zrilka's eyes blinked in rapid succession. He was clearly calculating his options. Finally, he nodded stiffly. The vessels will be recalled. They were merely on a scientific mission. Of course they were, Linda said, her voice dripping with polite skepticism. The High Speaker raised its front limbs, calling for order. In light of these revelations, I propose we adjust today's agenda. Instead of discussing the Mercari mining proposal, perhaps we should reconsider Earth's status within the Council. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Linda exchanged a quick glance with General Winters. This was unexpected. What do you mean, High Speaker? Linda asked. It seems clear that we have underestimated humanity, the High Speaker replied. You have demonstrated both technological capability and strategic thinking that exceeds our expectations. Perhaps observational status is no longer appropriate. One of the elder council members, a luminous being from the Andromeda Galaxy, floated forward. I concur with the High Speaker. The humans have shown they are more advanced than we believed. They have built impressive defenses while maintaining peaceful diplomatic relations. This shows maturity, Zrilka hissed in disagreement. They deceived us. They presented themselves as humble newcomers while secretly building weapons. Did we not all do the same when we first encountered other species? The luminous being countered. Caution is not deception, Overseer. Linda stepped forward. If I may, Honorable Council, Earth did not come here today seeking to change our status. We came to protect our sovereignty and to make it clear that while we value peaceful relations, we will defend ourselves if necessary. The High Speaker's compound eyes studied Linda. Yet you have demonstrated that humanity belongs at this table as more than observers. You have the technology, the strategic capacity, and clearly the determination to be full members of this council. General Winters nodded. Earth would be honored by such consideration. But first, we need clear assurances that all council members will respect our sovereignty. The council chamber grew quiet as all eyes turned to the Mercari delegation. Zrilka stood rigidly, his pride clearly wounded. After a moment, he spoke. The Mercari acknowledge Earth's right to defend its system. We withdraw our proposal regarding Jupiter's moons. Linda allowed herself a small smile. We appreciate your understanding, Diplomatic Overseer. The High Speaker raised its limbs again. Then it is settled. I propose a formal vote at our next session regarding Earth's elevation to full council membership. In the meantime, the Mercari will recall all vessels from the Sol system, and Earth will maintain its defensive posture without escalation. As the council session adjourned, many delegates approached the human team with new respect in their eyes and perhaps a hint of wariness as well. The Valdurian High Speaker came to Linda last. Ambassador Hayes, it said quietly, I must confess that I find this revelation most fascinating. For 3 years, we have watched humans behave with perfect deference and politeness. Yet all this time, you were building fleets and defenses. Linda smiled. High Speaker, on Earth we have a saying. Speak softly and carry a big stick. It means that courtesy and strength are not mutually exclusive. We prefer to solve problems through diplomacy, but we always prepare for other possibilities. The High Speaker's mandibles clicked in what Linda had come to recognize as amusement. A wise approach. I believe the council will be much more interesting with humans as full members. As the High Speaker moved away, Frank Miller stepped beside Linda. Well, that went better than expected. Linda watched as General Winters and Admiral Blackwell spoke with delegates from several species, who were now eagerly discussing potential military cooperation. Yes, she agreed. Sometimes you have to show your teeth to earn respect, Frank smiled. And we certainly showed ours today. The next day, Linda Hayes sat in her office on the council station reviewing reports from Earth Command. The immediate crisis with the Mercari had been averted, but the sudden change in humanity's standing among the council races brought new challenges and opportunities. A soft chime announced a visitor. The door slid open to reveal Catherine Alvarez, still wearing her technical uniform. "Ambassador," Catherine said with a small smile. "The council's communication officers are suddenly very interested in our technology. They've been asking me questions all morning." Linda gestured for her to sit. "I'm not surprised. Nothing gets attention like revealing you've been hiding your true capabilities." "The Mercari technicians won't even look at me," Catherine added. "I think they're embarrassed I caught them plotting." "Or angry," Linda cautioned. "Be careful around them. Wounded pride can be dangerous." Frank Miller entered with a data tablet. "Message from General Winters. The Mercari vessels have begun leaving Jupiter's orbit. Our defense platforms are tracking them all the way out of the system," Linda nodded, satisfied. "And the council vote on our membership status? Scheduled for tomorrow," Frank replied. "Early indicators suggest we'll get the support we need, but the Mercari are lobbying hard against us." "Of course they are," Linda said. She stood and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. "We've embarrassed them and disrupted their plans. They won't forgive that easily." A new chime indicated a priority message. Frank checked his tablet and raised his eyebrows. "It's from the Valdurian High Speaker. They're requesting a private meeting with you and General Winters." Linda exchanged glances with Catherine and Frank. The High Speaker rarely requested private meetings, especially with non-full members. "Tell the General," Linda said. "We'll meet the High Speaker in 1 hour." When Linda and General Winters arrived at the High Speaker's private chamber, they found the massive Valdurian waiting for them. The room was adjusted to accommodate both species comfortably, with higher gravity for the Valdurian and standard atmosphere for the humans. "Ambassador Hayes, General Winters," the High Speaker greeted them, mandibles clicking softly. "Thank you for coming on such short notice." "It's our honor, High Speaker," Linda replied with a formal bow. The High Speaker's compound eyes studied them both. "What you revealed yesterday has caused quite a stir among the council races. Some are impressed. Others are concerned." "Concerned that we're not as primitive as they thought?" General Winters asked bluntly. The High Speaker's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Precisely. For 3 years, many council members have viewed humans as an interesting curiosity, a young species taking its first steps into galactic society. Now they must reconsider that assessment," Linda nodded. "We understand that's uncomfortable for some. But surely the Council didn't expect us to remain defenseless while we learned the complexities of interstellar politics?" "No," the High Speaker agreed. "In fact, those of us who have studied Earth's history closely are not surprised. Your species has always prepared for conflict even while pursuing peace. Then why this meeting?" General Winters asked. The High Speaker moved to a console and activated a secure display. A star map appeared, showing a region of space far from Earth. "This is the Cygnus Arm," the High Speaker explained. "Specifically, the border between Mercari space and the Centauri Alliance. For the past year, Mercari forces have been building up in this region, much as you built up your defenses around Mars." Linda leaned forward. "You're saying the Mercari are planning military action against the Centauri?" "We have suspected, but lacked proof," the High Speaker said. "Until yesterday, when your revelations about the Mercari plans for your system convinced several council members to share their intelligence." General Winters studied the map carefully. "Why tell us? Earth has no territory in that region." The High Speaker's enormous form seemed to straighten. "Because tomorrow, when the Council votes on Earth's membership status, you will also be asked to join a peacekeeping initiative. The Mercari must be contained, but without provoking open conflict. Linda understood immediately. You want Earth. Ships as part of a council fleet to show unity. Yes, the High Speaker confirmed. Your vessels are unknown quantities to the Mercari. They cannot be certain of your capabilities. This uncertainty may help prevent aggression. General Winters crossed his arms. So yesterday we were observational members being plotted against, and today you want our military assistance? I understand your skepticism, General, the High Speaker said. But this is precisely why Earth should be a full council member. Your perspective is valuable, your capabilities are impressive, and your willingness to show restraint while possessing power is admirable. Linda and the General exchanged glances. This was moving faster than either had expected. We would need to consult with Earth Command, Linda said carefully. Of course, the High Speaker agreed. But I wanted you to understand the full situation before tomorrow's vote. The Council needs Earth now, perhaps more than Earth needs the Council. After leaving the High Speaker's chamber, Linda and General Winters walked silently through the station corridors. Several aliens moved aside respectfully as they passed a noticeable change from the previous days. They're afraid of us now, Winters observed quietly. Not afraid, Linda corrected. Respectful, there's a difference. They entered a secure communication room to contact Earth Command. Admiral Blackwell's face appeared on the screen, her expression serious. Ambassador General, she greeted them. I've reviewed the High Speaker's proposal. Our analysis suggests this is a genuine opportunity, or a trap, General Winters countered. We reveal our military capabilities, and suddenly the Council wants our ships far from Earth, involved in someone else's conflict. Admiral Blackwell nodded. We've considered that possibility. That's why we're sending only 3 vessels, enough to show commitment, but not enough to weaken Sol's defenses. Linda considered this. If we agree to this peacekeeping mission, we gain full Council membership and prove we're committed to galactic stability. If we refuse, we appear isolationist and self-interested, Winters finished, giving the Mercari ammunition to use against us. Exactly, Blackwell said. Earth Command believes the benefits outweigh the risks. President Rivera has authorized you to accept the proposal with conditions. Later that evening, Linda sat with Frank and Catherine in the station's observation lounge. The view of distant stars and nebulae stretched before them, a constant reminder of humanity's new place in the wider universe. Tomorrow everything changes. Frank said, full Council membership. A peacekeeping mission to the Cygnus Arm. Earth is truly joining galactic politics now. Catherine looked concerned. Do you think the Mercari will cause more trouble? They seemed pretty angry after yesterday's session. Linda sipped her drink thoughtfully. The Mercari have been expanding unchecked for decades. Now they face opposition from a species they dismissed as primitive. Of course they're angry. But we showed them we're not to be trifled with, Frank added. We did, Linda agreed. And tomorrow we show the entire Council that humanity can be both strong and cooperative. She looked out at the stars again. We dropped our polite mask when necessary, but that doesn't mean we've abandoned diplomacy. It just means the rules have changed. Frank raised his glass in a small toast. To humanity's new standing in the galaxy, Linda and Catherine joined him. As they touched glasses, Linda couldn't help but think about how quickly things had changed. For 3 years, humans had been polite observers, learning and adapting. Now, in the span of 2 days, they had revealed their strength and earned a place at the table. Tomorrow, she said softly, we begin a new chapter. The Council chamber was filled to capacity the next day. Representatives from all 17 member species were present, along with their advisors and staff. The gallery above the main floor, usually empty during routine sessions, was packed, with observers eager to witness what many were calling a historic vote. Linda Hayes entered with her team, now a mix of diplomatic and military personnel. General Winters and Admiral Blackwell walked beside her, with Frank Miller, Catherine Alvarez, and Captain Bennett following close behind. They took their seats in the human section as the Valdurian High Speaker called the session to order. Today, The High Speaker began, compound eyes sweeping across the chamber. The Council will vote on two significant matters. First, Earth's status within our organization. Second, the formation of a peacekeeping mission to the Cygnus Arm border region. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The connection between these two votes was clear to everyone present. The Mercari delegation sat stiffly in their section. Diplomatic Overseer Zrilka blue scales seemed duller than usual, his four eyes blinking rapidly whenever they turned toward the human delegation. Before we proceed to the votes, the High Speaker continued, Earth's representatives have requested to address the Council. Ambassador Hayes, you have the floor. Linda rose and walked to the central platform. She wore her formal diplomatic uniform, but now it was adorned with new insignia representing Earth's defense forces, a subtle reminder of what had been revealed the previous day. Honorable members of the Council, she began, her voice clear and confident. Earth came to this chamber 3 years ago as newcomers to galactic society. We were grateful for your welcome and eager to learn. That has not changed. She paused, looking around at the various alien faces watching her. What has changed is your understanding of humanity. Yesterday you learned that while we value peace and diplomacy, we also prepare for less favorable outcomes. Some of you may see this as deception. We see it as prudence. Several council members nodded in agreement. Others remained impassive. Today you vote on whether Earth should become a full member of this council. We would be honored by such recognition. But regardless of your decision, Earth will continue to defend its sovereignty while seeking peaceful relations with all species. She turned toward the Mercari section. Even those who have misjudged us. Zrilka's scales rippled in what might have been discomfort or anger. As for the proposed peacekeeping mission, Linda continued, Earth is prepared to contribute 3 vessels to a joint council fleet. We do this not to threaten any species, but to demonstrate our commitment to galactic stability. She returned to her seat as the High Speaker thanked her for her address. The formal voting process began, with each council member indicating their position on Earth's membership status. Frank leaned close to Linda. 14 in favor so far. We only need 9 for a majority. Linda nodded but kept her expression neutral. It wasn't over until the final vote was counted. The Mercari were among the last to vote. To everyone's surprise, Zrilka rose to speak. Before casting his vote, the Mercari acknowledged that we underestimated humanity, he said, the words seemingly difficult for him. While we maintain that our intentions toward Earth were misinterpreted, we recognize the humans' right to defend their system. A ripple of surprise went through the chamber. This was as close to an apology as the proud Mercari ever came. Therefore, Zrilka continued, the Mercari vote in favor of Earth's full membership, with the understanding that all parties will respect established territorial boundaries. The final tally was 16 votes in favor, with only 1 abstention. Earth was now a full member of the Galactic Council. The second vote, regarding the peacekeeping mission, passed with similar support. The details would be worked out in the coming days, but the principle was established a joint council fleet, including Earth vessels, would deploy to the Cygnus Arm as a show of unity and strength. As the session concluded, many council members approached the human delegation to offer congratulations. The atmosphere was markedly different from just 2 days before. Where once there had been condescension or mild curiosity, now there was respect and, in some cases, wary admiration. The Valdurian High Speaker was the last to approach. Its massive form towered over even the tallest humans, but Linda no longer felt small in its presence. Ambassador Hayes, or perhaps I should say Counselor Hayes now, the High Speaker said. This outcome is satisfactory to all parties. We believe so too, High Speaker, Linda replied. Though I suspect the Mercari are less than thrilled. The High Speaker's mandibles clicked softly. The Mercari adapt when necessary. Their vote today shows this. They respect strength even when it opposes their interests. General Winters joined them. And the peacekeeping mission? When will that begin? Within one of your Earth months, the High Speaker answered. Time enough for proper preparation. The details will be finalized in committee meetings, where Earth now has full voting rights. After the high speaker moved away, Admiral Blackwell approached with a secure tablet. "Message from Earth Command," she said quietly. "President Rivera sends congratulations and has authorized the deployment of the cruisers Armstrong, Curie, and Gandhi for the peacekeeping mission." Linda smiled at the ship names, all named after humans who had sought peace while understanding the realities of conflict. Later that evening, the human delegation hosted a small reception in their section of the station. Many council representatives attended, curious to learn more about the species that had so suddenly revealed new depths. Catherine Alvarez found Linda standing alone near a window, watching the stars. "Quite a change from when I was hiding in the Makari chamber," Catherine said with a smile. Linda nodded. "From technical advisor to hero of Earth diplomacy. Not bad for a week's work. Do you think they understand us better now?" Catherine asked, gesturing to the aliens mingling with humans throughout the room. "Some do," Linda replied. "Others are just recalculating their approach. But they all know something they didn't know before. Humanity isn't to be underestimated." Across the room, Frank was explaining Earth customs to a group of fascinated aliens, while General Winters and Admiral Blackwell discussed defense strategies with military representatives from 3 other species. "We dropped our polite mask," Linda continued, "but we didn't abandon diplomacy. That's the balance humanity has always tried to maintain, extending a hand in friendship while keeping the other ready to defend if necessary." Captain Bennett joined them, carrying drinks. "To Earth's new place in the galaxy," he said, offering a toast. As they raised their glasses, Linda noticed Diplomatic Overseer Zrilka entering the reception. The Mercari moved cautiously through the crowd, his 4 eyes scanning until they found Linda. With what appeared to be great effort, he approached her. "Ambassador Hayes," he said formally, "the Mercari delegation offers recognition of Earth's new status." It wasn't quite congratulations, but it was acknowledgement. Linda nodded graciously. "Thank you, Diplomatic Overseer. Earth looks forward to peaceful relations with the Mercari going forward." Zrilka hesitated, then added, "Your species surprised us. This does not happen often." "Sometimes appearances can be deceiving," Linda replied with a small smile. "Humanity learned long ago that politeness and strength are not mutually exclusive." As Zrilka moved away, Frank joined Linda by the window. "So, Counselor Hayes, what's next for humanity and the galactic community?" Linda looked out at the stars, thinking about Earth and its new place among them. "We continue as we began, extending friendship where it's welcomed, showing strength where it's needed, and never forgetting that in this vast galaxy, we must be both diplomatic and prepared." Frank smiled. "Polite mode with teeth." "Exactly," Linda agreed, raising her glass to the stars. "The polite species that surprised the galaxy."